one of the first ones in to meet him, along with Jeff Brady. Let's meet the Minnesota Vikings defense, anchored by that guy, All-Pro John Randall. He had 11.5 sacks last season. Smith, Fisk, and Alexander round out the line, the linebackers. Jeff Brady is in the middle. Ed McDaniel back off, missing all of last year with the knee injury. And Orlando Thomas, injured in the playoffs last year against Dallas, also back off knee surgery at free safety. Two tight end alignment once again for the Bills. And Collins to attempt his first pass. Running out of time in the pocket, now tries to go somewhere, and John Randall says, you're not going anywhere. So down he goes. Call it a sack, number 1 on the year for John Randall, who had 11.5 in 96.
Randall McDaniel has had 69 sacks since 1991. He's going to be coming in from right there. And there's good coverage downfield, so there's nowhere to actually throw the ball for Collins. So he's got to get out of there. This is a coverage sack. But one thing that Minnesota did was they blitzed Robert Griffith, the safety. They told us yesterday that they want to blitz those safeties. If the running game doesn't go, they'll be able to do that all game.
On 3rd and 14, 3 wide receiver alignment, 5 defensive backs in for the Vikings, and on the semi rollout, Collins now screen set up the other way, and Thurman Thomas has it, but he's surrounded by white shirts and ridden out of bounds. Jason Fisk, one of them over there, along with Dwayne Washington. So the Bills drive stalls after they get off to such a great start running the ball with Thurman Thomas. Chris Moore will come on to punt. David Palmer back deep to receive the punt. The up man will be Robert Tate, the rookie out of Cincinnati, who made a splash returning kicks on special teams for the Vikings during the preseason. Moore will strike this one from about his 21-yard line. High hanging kick. Fair catch signal by Palmer at his 25, and that's where the Vikings will start with their second possession of the game. 7:36 to go, first quarter. No score here at Rich Stadium. Local listings for the game and time in your area. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their own 25-yard line, their second possession of this game. Halfway through the first quarter, and that's Robert Smith cutting it back, getting good yardage, picking up about 7 out to the 32-yard line.
Ted Washington making the stop.
Ted Washington brought him down on the play.
A 7-yard gain.
As you watch Robert Smith run, what you see is that even when he's cutting, a lot of stuff is happening. Robert Smith is going to come through to this side on the right. You're going to see Randy McDaniel pull around, but now look, he'll never slow down. He's cutting there, he's moving, there's movement everywhere.
Chris Spielman kind of missed the tackle there. He wishes he had that one back. He does not miss many. 206 tackles on the year, and Johnson to throw again. Quickly out of the backfield to Robert Smith. He has first down yardage across the 35 to the 37. Sam Rogers brought him down.
Brad Johnson yesterday in our conversation with him exuded a lot of confidence. He is a young quarterback in terms of starting with only 8 games last year under his belt, but he's 28 years old. He's got more confidence than his experience would seem to indicate. And during the preseason, he had 119.9 quarterback rating. I mean, this guy's young, but he's got a lot of qualities that you would expect from a much older guy.
This offensive coordinator, Brian Billick, boy, he gave us a clinic on offensive football at our meetings yesterday, and Brad Johnson in some trouble. Down he goes. Ted Washington the first to hit him. Hawk and Bruce Smith clean up.
This is one of the key matchups of the game. Bruce Smith versus Vikings left tackle Todd Stussy. Now they're over here. Bruce Smith has been setting up Stussy around the outside for a while. What he's going to do here is go up and spin inside, almost like a pitcher setting up a batter. You can see Bruce coming in at the last second like that. Todd overset him, and that's one thing that he talked to us about yesterday that he can't do. He can't set too far wide or Bruce will spin back inside. Watch that over the course of the game.
On 2nd and 14, Charles Evans gets the delay, has some room up the middle before Henry Jones brings him down out at about the 39-yard line. So that'll set up a 3rd and long for Minnesota.
6-yard gain.
Evans is a complete back. He can run, he can block, he can catch. But Stussy was beaten by Bruce Smith on the last play on a pass. On this one, he got a hold of poor Damian Covington and drove him straight into the ground. Todd Stussy is a guy with a mean streak. Once in a while, Bruce will get his moves, but when Stussy catches you, he will let you know that he's there.
5 to defensive backs in for the Bills. David Palmer in motion. So a 5 wide-out set, and Brad Johnson, quick strike to Chris Carter. Cross midfield, inside the 45, down to the 43 of Buffalo. First down, Vikings. Big play there as Brad Johnson found one of the Viking quarterback's favorite targets in Chris Carter.
This is what I mean by the poise of this guy. Now, he knows he's got a 3rd and long. He knows he's got a hellacious pass rush coming. But look at Bruce Smith right there. That was a zone blitz. The zone blitz is nothing more than a guy who usually defends the pass in the defensive backfield rushing, and someone who usually rushes going and taking his place in the defensive backfield. Bruce Smith is defending the pass on that one. Didn't work.
First and 10 on the Buffalo 42, and Robert Smith net by Phil Hansen after a very short game. Hansen brings him down. He had 132 tackles in 96.
Here's that last play in the zone blitz. Here's Bruce Smith. He's supposed to rush, but instead of rushing, he's going to take one step up and come back over here. Somebody else is going to blitz off of this corner that we don't see. Now, if this isn't such a quick hitting pass play, Bruce Smith would have been back into those pass routes. Didn't have time to get there that time.
Very short game by Robert Smith. Setting up a 2nd and long. 5 defensive backs in once again for the Bills, and Brad Johnson to throw under some heavy pressure. Bruce Smith gave him a whack, and the pass is incomplete. Damian Covington was also there on the coverage, and Big Bruce was in the face of Brad Johnson that time.
This is something that Bruce Smith told us on Friday that he likes to do. Bruce is right here. Now, what he did was came around the corner. The time before, you'll remember, he spun back inside. Todd Stussy was looking for that spin inside, respecting that spin inside. Bruce came around the corner this time. He says it's much like a pitcher when he'll set up a batter with fastball, 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 and then on that one big pitch where you need a strikeout, you come back with the curveball and catch the batter off balance.
6 defensive backs now in for the Bills on 3rd and long for Johnson, who is 5 of 6 up to now. Big strike on the post pattern, and he has his man Jake Reed down right around the 21-yard line. Jeff Burris was there, but that was a perfect strike.
Now, does Brad Johnson look rattled to you? He has just been drilled by Bruce Smith. He drops back in the pocket, about a 5-step drop. You can see Johnson going back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a deep drop, sets up, and delivers the ball downfield off of his front foot. Now, you'll notice that, look at his front foot right there. He is not afraid of Bruce Smith coming in there.
I'd like to hear you now.
So on first down at the 21, Brad Johnson to throw it again. He'll go toward the end zone, and overthrown is Chris Carter. Now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Eric and Trevor, take a look at number 37 for the Cards, Larry Center. Nice kick-out block by Centers as Leland McElroy takes it in the pay dirt. Cardinals on top by a touch, trying to win for the first time ever in Cincinnati. Back to E-Man and Trevor Maddich.
Okay, JB, thank you very much, of course. JB and the crew back in Hollywood keeping us abreast of all the other NFL action going on today. Here at Rich Stadium, Vikings on the march with Brad Johnson at the helm. No score, but the Vikings on 2nd down from the 21-yard line of Buffalo. Johnson, quick hitter over the middle as Chris Carter. Not much, only about 3 on the play. That'll set up another 3rd and long trip.
It'll set up 3rd and long, and what the Vikings are trying to do in 3rd and long is confuse the defense with different kinds of pass protections. If you know what the pass protection is going to be with the problems that the Bills can give you with Bryce Pop and Bruce Smith, you can beat that pass protection. So what they're going to try to do is mix it up and confuse it. Now,
current drive over the 5-minute mark. 11th play, 6 defensive backs in for the Bills on 3rd down and long. Brad Johnson hits David Palmer. Palmer slides across the first down marker inside the 10 to the 9. Kurt Schultz brought him down, but too late. It'll be 1st and goal for the Vikings.
David Palmer was converted from wide receiver to help as a 3rd down running back. He's a guy that they don't want to block much, but they want him to do exactly that. Now, if you'll notice, where the Vikings have been throwing the ball, they've been having the most success on short passes up the middle. They haven't really attacked the sidelines very much, and those good Buffalo cornerbacks, as long as they can continue to dink them in the middle, they will.
Double tight end set for the Vikings in 1st and goal from the 9. Leroy Hoare bouncing off some tacklers, but Damian Covington and Sam Rogers there to clean him up after a very short game.
Leroy Horde is in the best shape of his life. He was cut last year by Carolina, was on the street for a while. And he came in and contributed to their running game. Now he's got a much fuller appreciation of life in the NFL as compared to life outside of the NFL. And he's a great complement to Robert Smith. They only want Robert Smith to carry about 15 times today. And so Leroy Horde will take up the rest of that load.
Call it no gain on that run by Horde. 3 receivers set in now for the Vikings. Chris Walsh in motion to the far side. And the pitch goes to David Palmer. Palmer trying to cut through a hole, and he is brought down. Big Ted Washington, 6'4", 325 pounds. Little David Palmer doesn't have a chance there.
No, that's like a rag doll in the jaws of a Rottweiler. Ted Washington plays nose guard. He'll line up over the center, and moving him is like trying to move the foundation of a house. Here's Ted right there. You know, we talked to some Bills the other day. They said that he is the very meanest Buffalo Bill. Look at him just bend Palmer in half right there. They said if there were a brawl in the locker room, Ted Washington wouldn't have a scratch on him because nobody would want to get near that guy.
Again, a 6 defensive back alignment. This drive, the Vikings 3 for 3 on 3rd down. They'll need a touchdown to make it 4 for 4. Johnson looking, going out in the flat to Carter. Carter is surrounded by blue shirts, tries a stiff arm there, but nothing doing against Marlon Turner. He'll get down to about the 5, but the Vikings might have to settle for a field goal, and on scoring strike if the Bills respond and go ahead of the Vikings 7-3. Early in the 2nd quarter, Steve Christie teeing it up from his own 30. Back deep are Tate and Harold Murrow. And this is Murrow. Murrow out across the 25, struggling out to about the 28-yard line where the Vikings will take over. Jay Remersma, hero right now, along with his teammate Todd Collins. The Vikings take over when we return.
He knows that he's made a mistake.
Brad Johnson striking, looking deep down the far side, but he throws that one way too far downfield as his receiver broke off the pattern on the near side, and it appears Johnson thought he was going to keep going on the fly pattern. He was looking for Jake Reed. Remersma had just 1 catch all last year, and now he has his first NFL touchdown on his first catch this season. Again, he was a converted quarterback in Michigan because of the guy who threw him the ball. Todd Collins, they move him to tight end.
You think there's any conspiracy there going back to the old alma mater?
Well, they'd like plenty more of those types of conspiracies here in Buffalo. The quarterback hooking up with his tight end. Meanwhile, 2nd down and 10 for Brad Johnson, who has a 3-receiver set. And now Johnson going down in the seam to Chris Carter, and Carter has first down yardage and plenty more out up near the 50-yard line before Kurt Schultz brought him down along with Henry Jones, but a pickup of about 18 and first down yardage for the Vikings.
Carter's in the slot on a good matchup. Here's Carter working on the strong safety Jones. As you can see, that Carter just gets by him. Now, strong safeties are not as good at covering wide receivers. What the Vikings want to do is get Carter in the slot on safeties and on nickel corners instead of the regular starting cornerbacks. That gives Carter and the Vikings a big physical mismatch.
First down now, and Brad Johnson to put it upstairs again. Now he keeps it, and we have a flag down as well. Johnson trying to get it back to the line of scrimmage. Bruce Smith and Phil Hansen bring him down, and I believe Bruce Smith is down there holding a leg right at the Bills' helmet at around midfield. Now he's being helped up by teammates, but the flag is down.
Number 62 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
Jeff Christie, the culprit in the holding penalty that time.
As Bruce Smith is limping off the field right now, you've got the center right here, Jeff Christie. He's the one that's going to be holding. He's working on Ted Washington. Washington is not real mobile, but he's huge, and you can see right there that Washington is able to get through the half of Jeff Christie. So Jeff Christie's arm hooked his neck, and he just went ahead and dragged him to the ground like a rodeo guy dragging down a bull in a rodeo.
Tough to drag down a guy 325 plus, but he did it and picked up the holding. 1st and 20. Brad Johnson looking over the middle to his tight end. Hunter Goodwin just off his fingertips and incomplete. Goodwin open in the seam. He was being covered by Henry Jones.
When I talk about the differences in mixing up pass protection, one thing that they want to do is fan out guards to block Bruce Smith or block Bryce Pott. Fanning out meaning they'll take a guard from his inside position, pull him out to the corner and block whoever's coming off the corner. Now, Bruce Smith comes off there from time to time, and they'll do that. Bryce Pott did it last time as we look at Todd Stussy, wondering if Bruce Smith will be slowed down or if he is just madder than he was before.
Bruce Smith back into the game and armed with a new contract. We'll talk about that in a moment as Brad Johnson, trying to get out of trouble, dumps it off to Leroy Horde. Horde has some room near side. Horde still inbound. Horde inside the 40, down to close to the 30-yard line. First down yardage, big play for the Vikings as Chris Spielman finally brought down Leroy Horde.
You know something, for the last 3 seconds or so that Johnson held the ball, he had Bryce Pop within just a few feet of him. He had great poise to get that to Leroy Horde. Leroy Horde, one of the strongest runners in the NFL once he's got that ball. Now look at Bryce Pop come in and beat Horde right there. But then Horde knows enough that, hey, I better help my quarterback. If I didn't block and protect him, I better get out and provide an outlet so he doesn't get drilled by the guy I was supposed to block.
Now the give is to Robert Smith, and Smith has some room off the right side, but holding on for dear life out there was Ted Washington. Or Smith had lots of room in front of him. Instead, he picks up close to 5 yards on the play, so it'll be second and short for the Vikings.
Here's Washington right here. He's just going to beat the center, Christie, on this one and come over and grab him by the ankle. Now, I'll tell you what, if Robert Smith's shoe was laced any looser and it could have come off, he'd have been in the end zone on that one. He's that close.
We talked before about Bruce Smith. He came back to the field after hurting a leg. He's armed with a new contract extension, longly awaited for a couple of years. 6 years, $28.2 million, $6.2 million signing bonus. Brad Johnson getting out of trouble again. Bruce Smith coming up from the backside to record the sack. Number 1 of the year for the new multi-millionaire.
Bruce Smith last season had 13.5 sacks, 54 quarterback pressures. There, Bruce right there working against Todd Stussy. And again, he's just going to work around and around and around, and he's relentless. He just doesn't stop. Now, Stussy thinks he's got him blocked. And he did have him blocked. This is one of those sacks that you've got to give credit to the coverage. You've got to give credit to the other guys coming underneath. And Bruce Smith knows that. He's lost sacks because other guys have gotten sacks where he's flushed the quarterback out. This time, Bruce was the beneficiary.
6 defensive backs in for the Bills on 3rd and long. Quick strike. Chris Carter again. Wide open in the seam, and Carter gets inside the 20 down to the 15-yard line, and he has been absolutely killing the Buffalo Bills so far here in the first half. Manny Martin brought him down.
Carter working on Manny Martin. And they knew that they had a mismatch with Chris Carter in there. This is kind of what they wanted to do, and until Buffalo stops them with these quick slants between the zones, Minnesota will keep running them, and there's no reason to stop.
Carter already unofficially 6 catches for 80 yards so far. Robert Smith, big hole up the middle. Smith spinning toward the goal line, but he's taken down by Henry Jones. Couldn't quite spin away from him at the 5. So pick up there of close to 10 yards on that play. It'll be 2nd and 1 for the Vikings.
The Vikings' huge offensive line is dominating the middle of this line now, which is unexpected. Right here, you've got Ted Washington. Ted Washington this time gets blocked one-on-one by Ted Christie. Actually gets pushed back about 2 yards. You know, and that give and take in there right now, Minnesota is developing an edge over Buffalo.
On 2nd down and short from, they call it the 6-yard line, Brad Johnson looking end zone. Has Chris Carter, touchdown, as he just used his body to shield off Jeff Burris. And that's what makes Chris Carter one of the great receivers in the game today. Touchdown, Minnesota. The Vikings answer back and go back ahead.
Chris Carter told us yesterday that they want to get him matched up on those smaller cornerbacks so that he can use his body to screen things off. Now, it's excellent protection, excellent throw, and all Chris Carter does was get in between Burris and the ball. That's a size advantage and an experience advantage by Chris Carter.
He has had an afternoon so far. 7 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown for Chris Carter. And the extra point by Greg Davis is straight through. And the Vikings answer back. They go ahead on an impressive march thanks to that guy, Chris Carter, a 6-yard touchdown pass. They'll kick it to Buffalo when we return. It's 6 straight games dating back to last year for the Vikings. And that ties a Minnesota Vikings record. You're seeing Tim Tyndale back deep to receive, along with Eric Moles for the Bills as the Vikings go back up top 10-7 here in the second quarter. Greg Davis's kick will come down to Moles. We'll field it at his 5. And Moles trying to step over prone bodies there, gets out to about the 24-yard line, where the Bills will take over and try to answer back. We got a good one going at Rich Stadium. Stay with us. We'll be back.
And they take delight in hitting secondaries in the NFL. Now, from the end zone, you'll see great protection again. You'll see Early coming across the middle, and Robert Griffith just lines him up, and just as Early's feet hit the ground, Robert Griffith arrives there. There's nothing that the receiver can do in a situation like that. But you know something? Give the DBs their due. They get this stuff. But what we're going to find is plays like Chris Carter's down on Marlon Kerner when he kind of got injured earlier in the first quarter, where he hit Marlon Kerner across the jaw. They do that to make up for this kind of a thing. Now, it looks like there might be a little, well, it looks like he might have the wind knocked out of him. He doesn't look that bad. But this is a very, very happy guy right now. DBs are macho little guys. They got more machismo and more testosterone per pound than any other professional athlete you'll ever find any place. And as long as that guy laying on the field there is going to live eventually, then those DBs are going to be talking about this all week long.
Robert Griffith had 103 tackles to lead the Viking defensive backs last year. He had 4 interceptions as well. And let's hope the wind is all he knocked out of Quinn Early. If you don't think there's hard hitting in the NFL, listen to what this one sounded like.
Ooh. You know what was interesting to me on that soundbite was the crowd. The roar came up, and they were like, yes, a big hit. And then everybody collectively, oh, my goodness, that guy might be hurt. You know, that was interesting. You didn't have to watch that play to know what happened on that. Now, Early is walking under his own power. He got the wind knocked out of him. He will look up Griffith. Let's watch for that. On a running play, let's see if Early doesn't find Griffith way far away from that play for paybacks.
All right, lucky he didn't lose more than just wind, maybe a few teeth on a hit like that, but fortunately for him, he walks off under his own power, and Todd Collins to put it upstairs again, looking, still looking. Now he's in trouble. Now he still gets it away and has his tight end. And it's Riemersma again, and Riemersma gets out to the 45-yard line. He'll be about 2.5 to 3 yards short of a first down. Jeff Brady took him down. Corey Fuller was there as well.
Derek Alexander with the pressure on Collins. He's going to come right around this side. But actually, that pressure happens because, again, there's excellent coverage downfield by that trash-talking, big-hitting Minnesota secondary. Actually, Collins, boy, when you're falling backwards like this, you can see there's nowhere there, nowhere there. He finally throws back to the outlet.
Chris Moore. Get this one away, hangs it short, and it'll get a favorable bounce for the Vikings, that is, as it bounced straight out of bounds to the near side and gets out at about the 25-yard line. So the Vikings will take over again, and they need some blocking from this guy, Todd Stussy, who talked to us yesterday about the unenviable task of going up against the all-world in Bruce Smith.
Bruce is a heck of a player. I mean, he's able to capitalize on your mistakes. If you do one little thing wrong, he'll make the most out of it. If you overset in a second, he'll be right underneath you getting a sack. If you get the wrong hand placement, move a little bit too far inside, he'll come outside, swat your hand down, and you'll give up a sack again. I mean, he's the one kind of guy that if you make just even the little mistakes, he'll make the most out of it.
Robert Smith on the handoff goes across Stussy's side. He's taken down by Chris Spielman and Damian Covington, but picks up close to 3 or 4 yards on the play. So a good running play for Stussy and that offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings.
That's another thing Stussy told us yesterday. He said that Bruce Smith is more dangerous away from a running play than at the point of attack. Stussy would rather block Smith one-on-one with the ball coming right at him than have to block him away because he's so good at pursuit.
2 wide receivers split to the near side, and again the give to Robert Smith. Big hole up the middle, and Smith gets out close to the 38-yard line. First down yardage for Minnesota once again. Spielman brought him down on that play, and Quinn Early still catching his breath there on the sideline.
Well, you can see the trainer feeling his ribs right there. That means he may have cracked a rib, he may have pulled a rib muscle, or he may have strained something in there. When you get rib damage as a receiver, that's very painful because then it makes it more difficult for you to go up high over the middle, catch a ball, and take another hit.
Robert Smith again. This time he's met right at the line of scrimmage. Big Ted Washington was there. Spielman was there along with Damian Covington. And the Bills will respond. They were one of the better defensive teams in the National Football League last year.
1 yard gain, second down 9.
Now here's Smith against Stussy right here. He tries to cut Bruce Smith. Now if you want to infuriate Bruce Smith, you do that. I did this against Bruce Smith one time, the first time I ever played left tackle. After the game, he found me in the parking lot to tell me about it. And I looked at him and said, Bruce, I've never played left tackle before. What would you have done in this situation? He looked at me like, well, you got a good point.
Just don't do it again. Off the play fake, Brad Johnson has a man over the middle, but an excellent defensive play in there in the secondary to knock it away. It was Thomas Smith on the coverage.
Here we have an ISO of Reed.
Thomas Smith on the coverage for the Bills.
Coming across, working against Jones. And once again, they count on Henry Jones, number 20, right there, to cover one-on-one, to cover wide receivers as a safety. Now, this is Thomas Smith. Thomas Smith is another guy that counts on Jones because Jones will help pick up when he's got crossing routes across the middle. That time it was a good combination between the two of them.
6 defensive backs in for Buffalo. Brad Johnson gets it away, but he was under some heavy pressure from Phil Hansen. Had to throw it quicker than he wanted to, and it falls harmlessly incomplete. The Vikings will have to punt. And we're at the 2-minute warning as well. So Brad Johnson fails on offense this time around. The Bills get the ball back when we return. Knocked out of him. He left the field just for precautionary measures. He is expected to return. Perhaps he has a bruise around the rib or sternum area, but we'll get updates as they come to us. Punt from Randall Cunningham, a good one. Steve Tasker taking it at his 12. Tasker dancing out across the 20 before he's brought down. Torian Gray, one of those who brought him down, along with Murrow as well. And the Bills will take over 1st and 10 on their own 24-yard line, 23-yard line. Check that. Steve Tasker, special teams guy, perennial Pro Bowler.
Now what the Bills offensively have been trying to do this game was run a conservative game plan, running, throwing short, and they've been able to get some first downs, but they haven't been able to string together enough first down to put many points on the board. And so now what they've got to try to do is go a little farther down the field to try to gain larger chunks of yards rather than just dink it and then have to punt it.
Collins put it upstairs, screen set up on the far side. It's Thurman Thomas across the 30, and Thurman Thomas barrels his way out across the 35 to the 37-yard line. As the Bills in the hurry-up attack, Fernando Smith brought him down.
Complete to Thurman Thomas.
That's good for first down yardage, and Todd Collins getting the signal in his radio headset, and now he's calling the signals from the line of scrimmage. It'll be 1st and 10 Buffalo. And Collins will put it upstairs again, has his man open, and once again, it's Thurman Thomas. And Thomas trying to struggle forward. Now we got a little extracurricular activity going on out there. Ed McDaniel and Thurman Thomas. Now they separate the two.
Now it starts to get a bit nasty. Now Ed McDaniel has a mean streak to him. So does John Randall. Now watch this. Thurman Thomas will get hit by 2 guys, and he's on the ground. He's just trying to get up. But look right there at Corey Fuller. Now Corey Fuller last year was fined $30,000 for poking Frank Winters of the Green Bay Packers in the eye. Frank Winters blocked him, picked him off a pile, and he walked up to him after that play, long after the play was over, poked him square away in the eye. Now we'll see what happens, because Thurman was down when Griffith picked him up and did what he did.
Timeout, a little longer. First 30-second timeout.
So Thurman Thomas is...
That merits an ejection.
Collins once again to put it upstairs, comes over to the near side, has his man. He hits Antoine Smith, brought down by Dwayne Washington, but another first down for the Bills as they cross midfield and get it to the Viking 48-yard line, inside a minute to play.
This is what Jim Kelly used to be so good at, this hurry-up offense. What you see in this 2-minute used to be Jim Kelly's regular offense. Same thing now that he's running in the 2-minute warning.
Collins has good protection, going deep down the field, has Andre Reed, who appeared to have gotten behind both the defenders, but he overthrew it just a little bit, and boy, did he take a shot. And you see him wincing in pain as he's helped up by his teammates, Robert Griffith and Corey Fuller, on the double coverage, but it appeared Reed might have outrun it.
From the end zone, the first thing to see is the pass protection. He is going to get just absolutely drilled here. Boom! In an awkward position. Now that ball would have been tough to complete. With double coverage there, would have had to have been thrown perfectly. That wasn't a bad throw. It's just that the defense did a good job defending that play. Todd Collins, though, knows that if he gets hit that way many more times, he's not going to be able to throw the ball that far.
On second down and 10, Collins again looking to the far side, and that was thrown low and away. His intended receiver was Lonnie Johnson that time, and it's incomplete. Corey Fuller was there on the coverage.
See, that was a tentative throw. This is one thing that the Vikings defensive people told us yesterday, that if they get to Collins, if they hit him hard, he doesn't make as good decisions. His superb mechanics in the pocket break down. Todd Collins needs to prove as a young quarterback that he can be under stress, under duress, under blitz, and still make good decisions and execute them with good throws. That throw was a tentative throw. That's why it was low and was slow. Todd Collins needs to do better than that when that happens, following up from being drilled on a pass rush.
Bills today so far 0 for 2 on third down situations. Antoine Smith in motion, and we have a flag down as here's the play clock.
Delay of game on the offense. 5 yards. It's still third down.
The play clock ran out, much to the chagrin of Marv Levy. So now it'll be third down and 15 to go.
That's just another thing for a young quarterback to have to manage out here. I mean, he's getting hit in the head. He's getting bent over backwards. He's throwing the ball into exotic coverages that Minnesota's throwing at him right now. Combinations of zone and man. And there's that play clock I got to look at too. That's a lot.
And hitting in the booth next to us upstairs here. Banging the table. Didn't like that. But Collins throwing to the far side, looking for Andre Reed, and down he goes hard once again as John Randall was in his face. So the pass is incomplete. And now the Bills will be forced to punt with Chris Moore.
We asked, here comes Randall right here, John Randall. We asked Ed McDaniel yesterday who the orneriest guy on the Vikings was. He said John Randall. He said when Johnny gets to the quarterback, he will make his presence known. And let me tell you, that little bit of extra was making his presence known to young Todd Collins.
David Palmer back deep to receive this punt for the Vikings, and Moore hangs this one up high and short. Palmer calls for the fair catch at the 24-yard line. And we're in the final seconds. In the tackle, I'm sorry, Trevor.
No, that's fine. Thurman will continue to come at Minnesota, though, because one of the biggest advantages that Buffalo has over Minnesota in terms of matchups is their weight of their offensive line. They have got a huge offensive line going against Minnesota's smaller but more mobile defensive line. Thurman knows that, and he wants to get up into that line as quickly as he can before he makes those cuts.
Thurman Thomas once again picking his way through holes and gets good yardage out up near first down territory as he gets out across the 35 to the 37. It will be a first down as Thurman Thomas finds some room up the middle.
Now here you find All-Pro Reuben Brown coming around to block on middle linebacker Jeff Brady. Thurman Thomas just lets the play develop. When a guard pulls around like that, it doesn't hit as quick as when everybody just comes off and blocks zone. Thurman, 8 consecutive seasons is 1,000 yards, knows that. Reuben Brown All-Pro because he knows that too. Did a good job blocking Jeff Brady.
Three wide receivers set in for the offense of the Bills. Todd Collins looking deep down the far side, has Andre Reed open, and he got it. Reed inside the 20 down to the 19-yard line. First down Buffalo. Corey Fuller was on the coverage.
This is exactly what we were talking about a minute ago, Eric. That the difference in this game and the score right now is that Buffalo has not yet unleashed Collins down the field. Now there's Reed. He's working on Corey Fuller. Corey Fuller gets faked out by that out and up. The reason is they haven't run the up yet. He knows that they're trying to protect Collins. The staff, Dan Henning, is trying to protect Collins by throwing short passes. He doesn't expect that long pass. That's why that worked. Corey Fuller was fooled by the scheme on that time, not by the route.
43 yards on the completion from Collins to Andre Reed, and now the delay, Thurman Thomas picking his way through again. Thomas fumbled the football, and who's got it under the bottom of the pile? The Vikings think they have it. Still a fight going on under there. And this is where a lot of stuff goes on, and the ball finally in the possession of the Minnesota Vikings. So a crucial turnover for Thurman Thomas and the Bills. Marv Levy not too happy about it. Minnesota has the football.
Early in the season, offenses aren't quite in sync. Defenses are usually ahead. And so you've got a lower percentage of points scored as we look. And so turnovers will kill you here because it's harder to make up for those turnovers. Now you can see Ed McDaniel came in there and swatted at the ball. That's a veteran linebacker. That's one dimension that Ed McDaniel brings to them that they didn't have last year. He knows when to shoot his gun to make tackles behind the line. He knows when a running back's ball is vulnerable because of the way he's holding it.
So a crucial turnover by the Bills offense gives the Vikings the ball, 1st and 10 on their own 17-yard line. And the give to Robert Smith, trying to use that speed to turn the corner, but Henry Jones is there and says, pushes him out of bounds, little or no gain on that play.
Robert Smith is very fast. He's got the speed to be patient. What that means is that he doesn't have to hit the hole immediately. Now here's Smith right here. He's going to be patient as he goes through, not running as fast as he can go. Now he turns on the jets. And he can do that because he's got the speed to do it. Now, Buffalo gave him nowhere to run that time. But a lot of times you'll find him delay like that, and then when he turns on the jets to the corner, he'll reach the corner.
Second down, Brad Johnson in some trouble, dumps it off on the near side, and they call it incomplete. The Bills are arguing no receiver was anywhere close to where he threw the ball. They want intentional grounding. Bruce Smith was there in Johnson's face.
Marv Levy not happy about that. Marv Levy, a very genial guy, a nice guy, and when this guy is mad, there's a good reason for it. Now, here's Bruce Smith right here. He's going to be working on Stussy. He turns his shoulders and squirts on through. That's one thing that's so hard to block about Bruce. He only weighs about 265. Look at him turn his shoulders parallel to the sideline. Stussy thinks he's got him blocked, but he squirts right through there. He makes himself small.
6 defensive backs in for the Bills, and here comes Bruce again to sack Brad Johnson. Bruce Smith, his 2nd sack of the game.
Bruce Smith missed all of training camp, basically, with a contract dispute. He comes out now as really first true live action. Here comes Bruce way on the outside. Now, he's going to come right around Todd Stussy. Stussy knows that he can't overset him. He ends up undersetting him. He needed to get out a little bit farther. But that's what's so dangerous about Bruce Smith.
Randall Cunningham will strike this one from his own end zone. And that one is a nice distance on it. He kicks this one over 70 yards downfield. Steve Tasker has it, and we got a flag down. Looks like some illegal blocking activity for the Bills back at about the 25-yard line, but Randall Cunningham returning to his college days at UNLV where he boomed him and boomed him long.
There's a flag down there, but he was All-American punter 2 years in a row at UNLV. He averaged over 45 yards a kick down there. Has an 80-yard kick in the NFL.
During the run back, illegal block from behind. Number 20 of the receiving team. 10 yards, 1st down.
Henry Jones, the culprit there. Give Randall Cunningham a 65-yard punt. Marv Levy still unhappy about what he thought was intentional grounding on Brad Johnson. The Buffalo Bills have the ball back when we come back, and Bruce Smith is one happy camper.
Budweiser.
Bills have it back, 1st and 10 on their own 20 after the illegal block penalty against Henry Jones. Todd Collins comes it over the middle, has his man Andre Reed across the 35 to the 37-yard line, 1st down yardage.
Bruce Smith sets up tackles like a pitcher. He told us that yesterday. He went outside in the 1st quarter on Stussy, went inside on the 1st quarter. This time he comes back outside. Now Stussy doesn't know where to set him. Do I set inside? Do I set outside? That wasn't really a very bad set. But the next time you can bet that Stussy, as Bruce Smith celebrates like only he can, will set a little farther out. Look for Bruce to spin back inside. Right now he's got Todd Stussy where he wants him.
Todd Collins put it upstairs again. This time goes down the seam, has it tied in. Jay Remersma. And Remersma has been a main weapon of his former Michigan teammate Todd Collins today. More 1st down yardage for the Bills. Dixon Edwards in on the stop.
23-yard
Okay, once again, we've got Todd Collins changing game plan, throwing farther down the field. You're going to see him throw to his right side, to Jay Reamersma, his former Michigan teammate, in coverage. Now, that was a nice throw by a young quarterback, but this is a change in the style of offensive coordinator Dan Henning from the first half to the second half. And I think it was planned.
First down, Antoine Smith this time doesn't get away from the tackle of Ed McDaniel. Right now, for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center. JB?
Hey, Eric, talk about answering back after the Rams had just scored. Eric Gulliford for the Saints, 2 yards deep. Look at this fake reverse as he takes it down the field. A 102-yard kickoff return. Yes, indeed, I'd say that's the way to get back into it. Nice run indeed. Let's take it back to Eric Clemens and Trevor Maddich.
Emil and Ditka going head-to-head. Eric Gulliford will be out of breath running 102 yards like that. He certainly wasn't as the Saints try to get back in it. And Todd Collins does the smart thing, gets down immediately as his protection broke down, and on the tackle there, Stalin Kalane, big rookie out of Boston College, 6'6", 288, was there to chase him down.
Well, this is John Randall. He'll be coming in right from over here. He comes on in against Corbin Lucina. As you can see, Lucina on the ground right over there. That's the danger of this guy, Randall. He's so quick. He gets into the gap. He forces you to move. Now, he's not as big as Lucina is, but once Lucina is moving, you can steer him. It's kind of like if you've got a bus that's moving, you can turn that wheel a lot easier than if that bus isn't.
Third down and about 8. Swing pass out of the backfield, and Antoine Smith was looking at the 3 defenders in front of him, could not hold on to it, and I don't think he would have gotten much had he held on to it.
No, the defense was up on him. They would like him to catch that because they know that he won't be able to get a first down on 3rd and 10 catching the ball in a swing pass like that. This, again, is the problem, though, that's creeping up in the second half that the Bills had in the first. They move the ball, but they don't string together enough first downs to get into scoring position.
Chris Moore, formation, he sends this one high and come down. David Palmer lets it down over his head, and a beautiful play by the kick coverage team. It's Marlon Turner down there to catch it on the fly and down it at the 2-yard line. So the Vikings in terrible field position when they come back on offense with Brad Johnson at the helm.
Special teams coach has his team work on this every Friday. You can see Turner coming down without a lot of resistance. He's going to catch this ball inside the 5-yard line, just like he's the punt returner. Now what Corey Fuller and Ed McDaniel need to do is block him so he can't get down there. They needed to block him. That's a great special teams play if you let it happen.
Now this large crowd at Rich Stadium urging its defense on to make something happen near the Viking goal line. Johnson back in his own end zone, guns it over the middle and has his tight end Hunter Goodwin. Goodwin gets across the 15-yard line. That's first down yardage. Gutsy call by the Vikings. First down for the Vikings, and the give to Robert Smith, who picks his way through a hole out across the 20-yard line. Another big pickup by the Vikings on first down, this time running the football.
Once again now, he runs right up the middle over the center, Christie. Christie is blocking on that huge nose tackle, Ted Washington. There's been times when Ted Washington has had the best of it. This particular time, Jeff Christie blocking one-on-one, pushed him to the right, and where did Smith run? But right where Washington used to be.
Vikings with both receivers split out to the left side, and a give to Robert Smith again. Smith getting another 3 to 4 yards. Getting up close to the 25-yard line. He's about a yard short of a first down. And Smith, a very effective day today, 12 rushes, 64 yards. Phil Hansen was there to bring him down. And again, Viking coaches told us, Ryan Billick, the offensive coordinator, that they want Robert Smith to carry it about 15 times. And he's very close to that total right now. On 3rd and 1, though, Leroy Hoare now into the backfield as the Vikings in a double tight end set. Greg DeLong in motion, and off the quick play fake, they swing it out to DeLong in the flat, and DeLong has first down yardage and more as he rolls out across the 35 to close to the 36-yard line. Another first down for Minnesota.
Well, Buffalo's defense was really expecting the run on this play. They were all stacked into the middle. As you can see, he goes back and fakes the run, and that's what makes DeLong open. You can see right here, Henry Jones bit on that run fake, and that's why DeLong was so open. Ordinarily, DeLong would never be able to get so open against Henry Jones. Great play-action fake, and that's one thing that Brian Billick told us he was going to do with Johnson this year more than it did last year, and that's play-action fake.
Brian Billick right there, calling the plays from the side Jeff Burris finally forced him out, but the Vikings are opening some big holes in the Buffalo Bills defense.
24-yard gain.
Great blocks here by Dixon and Stringer. These two guys right here weigh almost 750 pounds between them. And as soon as Robert Smith breaks out into the open, he can turn on the jets and get around the corner, get to the sideline before those defensive backs have a chance to cut him off. That's a dimension that they didn't have last year once he was injured.
Smith picks up 24 on that run. This time Leroy Ford tries to go off left tackle. He was met hard by Damian Covington and Phil Hansen in on the stop after a very short game.
Phil Hansen, one of the unsung heroes on this team. He plays in the shadow of Bruce Smith over there. But last year he had over 100 total tackles. Last year he had 8 sacks. And the guy can play much better than most people know because of the other superstars on this Buffalo defense. When you watch film on this guy, all by himself, you see that he would start at almost every team in the NFL. Unsung hero on this defense.
On 2nd and 8, the Vikings with 3 wide receivers into the game for Brad Johnson. David Palmer is in the backfield. And Johnson comes near side, and we have some contact down there. Jake Reed wants a pass interference call, and I think he's going to get one.
Jake Reed has something to say to Jeff Burris as well about it.
Jerry Austin, your referee.
Number 22 of the defense. Automatic first down.
Jeff Burris, the culprit, pass interference. The Vikings will have another first down at the 25.
Jeff Burris at a physical disadvantage with Jake Reed. Jake Reed is taller, he's bigger. But in this case, it looks just like they got their feet tangled up. And now here's Jake Reed. There's Burris right there. And you can see right there, you can see his right arm around Jake Reed's body way up to 5 yards. He knew that he was beat. He thought it might be better to risk a penalty than to risk a touchdown on him.
On first down now, Brad Johnson on the play fake. Now he'll roll it to the near side and throw it back. And he was looking that time for Jake Reed once again, but this time Jeff Burris was close enough and did not pick up a pass interference penalty, so call it an incompletion.
Buffalo's defense is really stepping up down here. Nothing much is working for Minnesota. They've tried a couple of different kinds of passes. It's not going. Johnson's mobility, though, buys him some extra time because you're going to see Bryce Pop come right around the corner there, and because he's able to have extra mobility, he also puts himself in a position to get drilled. But that's another thing Brian Billis told us he was going to do, use that mobility of Brad Johnson.
Chris Carter in motion in the far side to give to Robert Smith, who gets nothing at all. He's met first back there by Big Ted Washington. Damian Covington also coming to clean up along with Bryce Pop.
And in the game comes a guy named Jim Jeffcoat. Jim Jeffcoat has been playing for 15 years. He comes in on their nickel package. He can't play against the run much anymore, but the guy is still one of the very top sack leaders in NFL history. You know, this guy, he's old enough now, they don't even send reporters to interview him anymore. They send archaeologists, which actually is a compliment. That means he's been around for a long time.
He did pick up 5 sacks last year. The Bills respond with 6 defensive backs as Palmer goes in motion. Another quick hitting play that damaged Buffalo in the first half. Did not work that time. I think Johnson threw it a little bit too quickly for Chris Carter to react to.
Jim Jeffcoat just kind of bangs and turns around and goes. He knows the quarterback's on a quick drop on this one from the second step, so he realizes there's not too much to do once he goes ahead and gets that initial hit on David Dixon. So he knows when he needs to throw his body around, and when he doesn't, that's how he's lasted so long.
Greg Davis, 43-yard field goal, inconsistent from this distance last year. Only 2 for 5 before being released at Arizona. This time he'll try to add to the Vikings' lead. And he does with plenty of room to spare, so Dennis Green and company pretty happy. The drive stalls, but Davis adds a field goal, and the Vikings now lead it 13-7. At Rich Stadium in Buffalo, Big Ted Washington taking some attention on the sidelines there as the Vikings convert.
That'll take a lot of tape to wrap around that big body.
Greg Davis connecting on a 43-yard field goal. Minnesota now up by 6, and they'll kick it deep to Eric Moles. Will field this one at his 4. Moles stays along the far sideline, gets it out up close to the 20-yard line at about the 18, where the Bills will take over. Buffalo trying to get another answer for the Vikings score when we return. Back here at Rich Stadium, plenty of couples in the stands enjoying Sunday afternoon football here in Buffalo, hoping their Bills get off to a good start against the Vikings. Right now, Buffalo trailing it by 6. Minnesota leads at 13-7. And the Bills and Todd Collins come out with 3 wide receivers set in the game. Lonnie Johnson now in motion on 1st and 10 at the 18. Collins on the play fake, looking deep near side, and has his man Andre Reed up at about the 35-yard line. First down, Buffalo. And speaking of couples enjoying, this takes it a little bit to the extreme, Trevor.
Well, you know, I think right here you got the best man blitzing the bride. I don't know if the groom wants to go over there and throw a chop block on him like Stussy did on Bruce Smith, but congratulations to this happy couple.
Al and Karen Tomasello of Tonawanda, New York, married. Obviously, they're football fans. Out here yesterday, a bright and sunny day, and great day for a kiss, and a great day for tackle, and a great day for the kids, and everything else. I think Al and Karen might wait on those kids. On 1st down, again, Todd Collins looks and completes the pass out of the backfield to Thurman Thomas. And Thurman Thomas gets up across the 40-yard line, picked up about 7 yards on the play. So another good start on 1st down for the Buffalo Bills.
And this is just outstanding protection. Todd Collins had all day to throw the ball, and this is where he's at his best. One thing that Marv Levy told us yesterday is that Todd Collins, when he has time to throw, is as mechanically superb, that was his word, a young quarterback as he's ever seen.
Collins on the delay. Thurman Thomas doesn't have much room that time. Dixon Edwards was one of the first in there to disrupt that play. So Thurman getting very little yardage on that one. That'll leave the Bills in a 3rd and call it a long 2.
A lot of different options here. Thurman Thomas, though, is likely to get the ball, whether it's a handoff, a screen pass, or a swing pass. Now there's Dan Henning, the offensive coordinator of the Bills. He has created an offense here that's allowed Todd Collins to actually be very successful here today.
On 3rd down, closer to 3 yards to go. Double tight end set, and the give goes to Thurman Thomas, but we have flags on the play. And the Vikings indicating the penalty will go against the Buffalo Bills.
Ball start. Number 79, prior to the snap. 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
The All-Pro Reuben Brown.
All-Pro Reuben Brown, and Marv Levy not happy about that, but you know, that's here's Reuben Brown right here. He's just going to start a little early to get down there. You can do that. Now they're in a situation though where you can expect a blitz from Minnesota.
On 3rd down and 7. Pro Bowl guard Reuben Brown, the culprit there on the motion penalty. And Collins looking downfield, has Andre Reed open across the middle, and Reed gets into Viking territory at the 42-yard line to keep the drive alive. 1st down, Buffalo.
We start out with, once again, good pass protection, but there are 2 kinds of routes that have been open for the wide receivers of the Buffalo Bills. This is one of them, a crossing route, where you run right across the field, and Todd Collins told us that he was looking for this kind of route. Now, the second is a comeback. Now, this is the crossing route. You've seen them catch comeback routes as well, and we'll highlight that when we come up to more of them. But those 2 routes, the Vikings have not stopped you.
Andre Reed in effective taking from the ball. Here's Eric Moles on the reverse. Has room inside. Moles inside the 20, and Moles taken out of bounds by Orlando Thomas. We saw them work on the reverse in practice some this week, and they unleash it for a big game.
The Bills starting to rip off plays with big yardage, 10, 15, 20 yards a pop. This play works only when the defense cheats. What Dan Henning must have seen is that the Minnesota defense is over pursuing, and Dixon Edwards is right there. He's supposed to watch out on that backside, make sure that reverse doesn't come. He's been so excited about the success that he's had on stuffing the running game from the backside that he forgot, oops, they might run a reverse. Dan Henning made a great call on that play to keep him honest.
27 yards on the run by Moles, and Collins dumps it out of the backfield to Thurman Thomas, and Thomas gets down to the 10-yard line. Pick up a 4 on that play before Dwayne Washington brings him down.
Well, look at Todd Collins right here. He's going to come around and just put the wood on the Griffith right there. He kind of gives help to his big offensive lineman there, but sometimes coaches love it when their quarterback drills somebody. Most of the time, they want him to stay the heck away. You get a guy like Jim McMahon, thought he was a linebacker, had some good highlights like that, but he'd be limping around, just like Thomas is limping around right now.
And that's the end of the third quarter. With the score, the Minnesota Vikings 13, the Buffalo Bills 7. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local Fox station. Fourth quarter, see how Thurman Thomas got shaken up.
He put a nifty move on Ed McDaniel, but then Derek Alexander landed right on his ankle, drove it into the turf.
3 receivers set for Todd Collins, looking in zone, has that one. Is it a fumble or an incompletion? They call it an incompletion. Fortunately for the Bills, the arm was going forward.
This is one thing that Todd Collins needs to learn as a young quarterback, and that's when to try to make that last-second throw and when to pull it down. He made a throw that was actually complete falling backwards in the first quarter. Now he's got the pocket collapsing around him, and he'll still try to make this throw. Now, when that happens, the ball pops up in the air. That could be an interception, and the Bills cannot afford another turnover down in the red zone. They need to convert on this.
This drive, 7 plays, 69 yards so far, but the Bills need a big play to keep it alive here. 3rd down and 6 on the Viking 10. Collins looking near side, and he threw that one off balance. Lonnie Johnson could not get a handle on it, so the Bills apparently will have to settle for another Steve Christie field goal attempt.
This is just outstanding coverage all the way around. It was good protection as well. You'll see the middle of the pocket here puts a little bit of pressure on him, but not enough to worry him. There's just nowhere to throw the ball. He finally just basically throws it away out there, knowing that it'd be better to get a field goal than to possibly have an interception and lose all points.
Steve Christie, chip shot for him is right through, so the Buffalo Bills do answer, not the way they'd like to, but they get 3 out of it to pull to within 3 of the Minnesota Vikings here early in the fourth quarter. At Rich Stadium, University of Akron Zips, marching band waving hello to all the folks watching this one. As Steve Christie tees it up to kick it off, back deep to receive. Robert Tate and Harold Murrow. Tate deep into his own end zone. Makes a decision to keep it right there as the Vikings will take over 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line, leading it 13-10. The Vikings take over and try to answer back against the Bills when we return. Themselves at Rich Stadium, the Buffalo Bills faithful a little bit revved up. The Bills have gotten back to within 3. Now we'll see if the Vikings can answer on 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Eric Clemens and Trevor Maddox with you to bring you the fourth quarter. Johnson in some trouble. Now he throws it back across and picks up a yard or 2 as he found Charles Evans out of the backfield. Now, if you haven't heard of
this show created the movie Independence Day. Expect it to be a blockbuster of a TV show. A lot of things going on.
2nd down and 8. And a give to Robert Smith, who cuts it back to a big hole across the 30. And Smith is in a foot race. I don't think anybody's going to catch him. Touchdown, Minnesota Vikings. Robert Smith turns on the speed. And the fans here at Rich Stadium in a bit of a state of shock because nobody came close to touching him.
Well, the Vikings had the right play on at the right time. 2nd and long. Buffalo expected a pass. So over here you've got Bruce Smith. You've got Bryce Popp out here. Both of them are pass rushers. Bryce Popp came up the field. Bruce Smith started his pass rush. Todd Stussy got right into him and drove him down inside. There's nobody else down there. Credit great play calling there. Credit great execution. Now here's Stussy on Smith. As you can see, Bryce Popp was expecting to rush the quarterback. He was surprised when he saw Smith come underneath for that football.
Robert Smith, the 78-yard run, the longest of his career. The extra point is good, and the Minnesota Vikings strike like lightning with some lightning speed in Robert Smith.
Do a classic pass rush move. With this hand, he's going to club this shoulder. He's going to come back with his other hand, club the other shoulder. But guess what? Todd Stussy isn't pass blocking. He's run blocking, and Bruce Smith isn't ready for that. You've got to be happy for Robert Smith, too. He missed the 2nd half of last season, reconstructive knee surgery. Now he's back, not only playing well, but keying a huge play that may end up being the backbreaker for this Buffalo Bills team.
We wanted him to carry it 15 times. He has for those 166 yards. yards, and Eric Moles takes the kickoff for Buffalo, gets it right up to the 20-yard line, but there's a flag on the play. Thrown at about the 30. Harold Morrow in on the tackle for the Vikings. And the crowd here at Rich Stadium still in a bit of shock. It's just unusual to see a running back break through the line of scrimmage and never be touched, as we have holding. The indication.
Number 58 during the return. 10 yards. It'll be first down.
You know something, Bruce DeHaven and the Bills special teams were ranked #1 in the NFL last year. The Vikings struggled last year. But Gary Zahner, the Vikings special teams coach, is one of the best special teams coaches in the NFL. He went out and got extra speed. They drafted linebacker Dwayne Rudd, who runs a 4.58. They got Greg Briggs, linebacker, runs a 4.45. Harold Moore runs a 4.5. Added a lot of speed. The special teams of Minnesota is up to the task today against the special teams of Buffalo.
The holding against Marlo Perry pushes the Bills back to 11. Collins comes out firing. It's Jay Reamersma's favorite target today. Now time for McDonald's game break. Let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center. JB.
Eric and Trevor, what a day for Lawrence Phillips. Take a look. His second run for the touchdown today. Second TD gallop. That one 25 yards. Boy, the Rams looking nice. 28-17 in the third over New Orleans. Back to E. Clemens and Trevor Maddich.
All right, JB, and big yardage picked up there for Thurman Thomas, who's had an all-around solid day for the Buffalo Bills. Orlando Thomas brought him down, but not before he picked up first down yardage for Buffalo.
This is good game plan discipline by Dan Henning, sticking with the same kinds of plays that had success earlier.
Buffalo going with a hurry-up call that time, and Collins dumps it out of the backfield. Thurman Thomas once again, but he's met right at the line of scrimmage. Ed McDaniel was there along with Dwayne Washington, I should say.
Well, I was going to say the difference, though, is they're running the same plays, but now they're doing it without the huddle. This is sort of a modified version of Jim Kelly's K-gun. It hasn't been working well enough to string together first downs. Huddling up, they're going to try the other way.
Collins again, blitz is on. Ed McDaniel coming from inside, and that one almost caught by Lonnie Johnson, then almost intercepted by Dixon Edwards, but getting some heavy pressure on was Fernando Smith, it looked like, and Griffith coming on a blitz, maybe Dixon Edwards as well.
Well, this is a veteran defense that knows what to do and how to adjust. The purpose of the K-gun, the purpose of going with no huddle, is so that the defense won't be able to adjust. Here comes Ed McDaniel. Now, ordinarily, he wouldn't run that blitz against this kind of an offense with no huddle. There's no time to call it. But he's a veteran. He knows what's expected, knows what his role is, and he comes through and makes a huge play.
Two tight end formation on 3rd and 9 for Buffalo, both of them to the near side. Collins looking downfield again, looks far side, has his man, and it's Antoine Smith, and Smith gets out to the 40-yard line for first down yardage. Key third down conversion for Todd Collins in Buffalo.
Good protection from that offensive line on the right side. We've had the rotation at right guard like we expected. Right now, Ostrowski's in the game. Corvin Messina has played. But I believe Corey Lucci at right tackle has played the whole game at right tackle, has been doing an outstanding job overall.
Bills at first and 10 on their own 40-yard line. Check out the scoreboard. Some of the rest of the day's action.
You know, the thought process right now upstairs with Dan Henning and the brain trust of the Buffalo Bills is not to panic. There are 11 minutes to go in this game. They're down 2 scores, 10 points, but there's no reason to break out of the game plan of medium passes, short passes, and runs and air it out. They don't need to do that. Now here he is calling in the plays to Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt talks in the headset down to Todd Collins because he's a quarterback and he relates to him better.
Collins fumbles the exchange from center, and it's a loose ball. Vikings have it. Jeff Brady could go all the way. He does. Touchdown, Minnesota. Another costly turnover for the Buffalo Bills.
Boy, that's how quick a game can get away from you. This thing was just a slugfest, and all of a sudden 2 plays, bam. And now all of a sudden the Vikings have broken it open. And with the Bills' offense playing the way it's been playing, they're not going to be able to strike back as easily as they did before. It's hard to see exactly what happened on that, whether Collins pulled out or whether Dusty Ziegler, the center, shorted the ball. Maybe he got it from a different angle. We could see that. But this is huge. Now, we've talked about this with a Minnesota Vikings staff member who's their director of research and development. His name is Mike Ayers. And I'd like to get back on that a little bit as we come through to talk about the meaning of these big plays, the statistical value.
And the extra point by Greg Davis is true, and suddenly we have a 17-point margin because of two big plays, big strikes by the Vikings. Smith, a big touchdown run. Brady, a fumble recovery, up 30 yards. Ball. Pick up. Coming down to Eric Moles at his 1. Moles gets out across the 20, up close to the 25-yard line, where he's taken down, and Jeff Brady and the Viking defense will come back onto the field again.
Todd Collins has an awful lot to think about, and it's like in the first half at the end, he forgot that he had to manage the clock, got a delay of game penalty. Here, he may have just forgotten that he shouldn't pull out, that he's got to take that snap before he does everything else. There's so much to think about here, and sometimes the most basic fundamentals that you take for granted are the ones that you let go. Now, Jeff Brady is ecstatic about this. Last year was his first year as a starter. This year, first NFL touchdown.
Wide receivers in for the Bills in the delay. Antoine Smith, big hole. Yes, 8 or 9 on the play up to close to the 35-yard line. So it'll set up second and short for Buffalo, which needs to score quickly as we approach the 10.5-minute mark remaining in this game.
They'll go into the K-gun, and now the offensive philosophy does need to change. They do need to have plays in there to take advantage of long gouging plays.
Green set up to Smith. He has first down yardage and a little more out up across the 40-yard line to the 41. First down Buffalo. And they're in the hurry-up offense, so they're trying to strike quickly here and get back into this one as the Vikings use a couple of big plays to take that 17-point lead.
And this is the element that the Vikings defensive line wants to have. John Randall is turned loose. Fernando Smith, good pass rusher. Don't have to worry too much about the run.
On the draw, Antoine Smith gets close to 5 yards on the play as he gets to the 45-yard line, and this score is unusual between these two teams because they've met 4 times since 1980. All the games have been decided by 7 points or less. So
you've got 2 huge plays that broke it open from a close game to just about a blowout right now if Buffalo can't come back and score.
Looking near side, has Andre Reed wide open, and Reed goes out of bounds at the 31-yard line, and the Bills on the march. Andre Reed having a big afternoon as well. Robert Griffith forced him out of bounds and maybe into our Fox cameraman down there. It seems to be okay, though.
That's a dangerous place to be on that football field. You can get those camera lenses. This camera lens right there is about a $4,000 lens.
Let's take a listen to it here.
Whoa!
Oh, actually, he's holding the audio dish, the parabolic dish there, and maybe he has a little blood from the lip, but not too much harm. We hope. He's still hanging in there. We're tough here at Fox. Over the middle, the pass goes to Lonnie Johnson, and Johnson gets inside the 25. Hazardous duty pay for this guy.
There's a lot of people flying around out there out of control. I mean, sometimes sound guys, you ever seen a cheerleader get drilled by a plane?
Yes.
Boy, that can be not a very pretty sight.
Dennis Dean gets the tough guy award for today. We'll put him on the Madden team.
I'll tell you,
a little bit of a shot that time.
If that microphone survived it, we should put that microphone on the Madden team.
Thurman Thomas stretching out to close to the 20-yard line, and I believe he'll have enough for another Buffalo first down. Stalin Kalane on the tackle, the big rookie out of Boston College, 6'6", 288. Viking coaches love him. Thurman Thomas picking up the first down. The Bills still in the hurry-up. As we approach the 8-minute mark, Collins looking to throw it up again. And this time he fires it, and he has his man once again.
You know what, though? The Vikings don't mind this. They'll give this to the Bills all day long. Let them think that everything is going great.
And we have a holding penalty against Buffalo.
Holding. Number 79 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat, first down.
Well, again, that's all pro Reuben Brown. That's 2 penalties on him. Let's go ahead and take a look at the end zone and what he did. Now, Reuben Brown is right here. He's working against John Randall. Yeah, John Randall gets inside. Oh, now that's not a good call. What the ref saw there was what he thought was Reuben Brown grabbing Randall, throwing him to the ground.
Down with an injury on the previous play.
Look at Randall. John Randall gets knocked by John Pino right down into Dusty Ziegler's leg.
So now Jerry Ostrowski moves from right guard to center, and Corbin Lucina comes on at the right guard position. And Todd Collins fires a strike down to the far side. gets it at the 20-yard line before he goes out of bounds.
Well, this revamped offensive line revamped even more. Dusty Ziegler, one of the steadiest performers during the preseason, filling in for Ken Hull after he retired. And now all of a sudden, Ostrowski, who was trying to win that right guard spot in that battle with Corbin Lucina as they were switching back and forth, now has to move in to fill in for Ziegler. That's 3 new people on the right side, center, guard, tackle, that were not there last year.
Pickup of the 10 yards rather on that play, setting up a second down and 10 for Buffalo at the Viking 20. Collins looking down the middle. That one deflected and intercepted in the end zone. Orlando Thomas, who had 5 picks to lead his team in '96, gets a fortuitous bounce that time and comes up with the interception.
We talked yesterday to Marv Levy about Todd Collins. We asked him about his strengths and his weaknesses, and he said one thing that Todd Collins needs to work on is his recognition of complex defenses and then making good choices with where to throw the ball once he reads those. Now you can see there that the ball is tipped up in the air. It was good coverage. The first-round draft choice, Rudd, right there, tips the ball up. But at the same time, there it gets tipped up in the air. And then Orlando Thomas, the safety, just gets a gift right there. But this is one thing that Marv Levy wanted from Todd Collins.